After almost 2 years of complete silence regarding a PlayStation 4 version, with the exception of confirmation that there is in fact going to be one, Crystal Dynamics recently announced the Rise of the Tomb Raider 20-Year Celebration Edition, which is an odd title because I would think something like that would be more fit for, say, I don't know, an anthology, maybe? Something that covers the full 20 years? Just kind of throwing that out there. But then again, you need something to stand out on the shelves for sure nowadays because we have collector's editions, gold editions, definitive editions, all these strange titles. So I suppose it's not that odd. Or at least it shouldn't be so unexpected that it would have such an odd title, perhaps. But nonetheless, this is good news. This drops in October. I believe October 10th is the release date. Though do not hold me to that, because I could be wrong. I, for some reason, do not have that in my notes in front of me. So what do we get with this? Well, this is fantastic news for PlayStation 4 users who have been patient in regards to the exclusivity deal, as we are getting what we should be getting, in my opinion, and that is every little bit of DLC that has previously been available for PC, Xbox 360, and Xbox One, as well as new DLC, Blood Ties and Lara's Nightmare, and classic outfit skins, which are always welcome. I love those old games, so I will not knock those. I think it's a little bit strange how they are exclusive to being used through a card, but that whole card system is a little bit strange to me to begin with. So maybe that'll make sense whenever I actually get to play the game. But the descriptions I've read about it, I don't know, it kind of sounds strange to me. Plus, those are the source of the microtransactions in the game, and I'm never comfortable with microtransactions. But again, I have not yet played the game, so I don't know how heavily these microtransactions will or will not come into play. As long as it doesn't gate my progress to the point where I have to spend money on a microtransaction to finish the game, I'll be okay with it, I mean, it's just the state of the industry nowadays. Everybody's got microtransactions. Everybody's got DLCs, and you can get about 4 different versions of whatever game you're in the mood for. You can get your gold edition, your standard, your definitive, your collectors, your ultra collectors, all that kind of crazy shit. It's just insane how the industry in the last 5 or 6 years has just fucking just exploded and thrown up all these different choices for consumers to purchase. It's very odd to me. I don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know. I'm just gonna say that it's odd to me and leave it at that. I think my feelings on collector's editions and microtransactions and all that shit have been well discussed in other videos if you are familiar with the channel. And if you are not familiar with the channel, I'll just say that for the most part, I'm comfortable with some of them, but when it gets to a point when there's 4 or 5 different versions of the same game out there, that becomes a little bit greedy and a little bit of a cash grab to me. But nonetheless, this is still a fantastic collection. And if you pre-order, then you also get an art book. And this is pre-order exclusive only as far as I'm aware, but I'm pretty sure it's going to pop up on Amazon and eBay a couple of weeks after the game releases because, let's face it, there's scalpers when it comes to gaming merchandise and memorabilia and collectibles and shit like that. It's almost like a seedy underbelly, But it's out there. And a pre-order exclusive art book is nothing new because that was also available for TR 2013. With regards to a collector's edition, though, there has been no announcement as of this recording for a collector's edition for this PlayStation 4 version. Now, there was one for the Xbox One version, which is pretty good. Some of the quality of the stuff is not so great. But it was a cheap collector's edition to buy. In fact, probably one of the cheaper ones that was available at the time. This was only $150 US when it came out. Nowadays, if you were to track it down on Amazon or something, thanks to the scalpers, it's probably quite a bit more. I haven't looked into it for a while, but I'm sure it's a little bit more costly if you cannot still get this from the Square Enix or Crystal Dynamics store. And speaking of which, I'm just going to throw this fair warning out there to everybody. If you follow Tomb Raider on Twitter or on Facebook, They have a link for a website called buyrevengeofthetombraider.com. Now, I don't know about anybody else, but when I personally went to that website just to check it out and see what it would be like to order from there, my antivirus on my computer went absolutely apeshit, and I got a little pop-up telling me it was a maximum risk site and I should not be on it. So keep that in mind. If anybody else has had different experiences with that website, please, by all means, say something in the comments below. There's a chance that it's just my antivirus software. I'm aware that certain websites are blocked by, this particular antivirus that doesn't get blocked by, that one over there. I know that shit happens, so maybe it's just what I use. But if anybody else has had issues with that particular site, please let me know. I'm genuinely curious if it is just my antivirus or whatever. Or if anybody else is having the same thing happen to them, let me know. I'm curious. Anyways, what I like about this complete edition, for lack of a better term, is that we actually get all the DLC on the disc, and we are not required to have a season pass to download any of it. Now, I say on the disc, this is just purely speculation on my part, because I know when I picked up the Bioshock 1 and 2 collection, all the DLC was on the disc for that. And indeed, even with a game like Dead Space 2, the special edition for that, Dead Space Extraction was downloaded off of the disc. You didn't need to connect to the PlayStation Network to download it and to play it. So if that's handled the same way with this Tomb Raider 20-year celebration, I'll be happy. If you actually have to connect to the network, it's still not bad. I mean, we're gonna get it regardless, so that's cool. The unfortunate thing about this is that the Xbox 360 will not be getting any of this new DLC. However, the good news is PC users and Xbox One users will be getting it. So I'm a little bit unsure why the Xbox 360 is missing out. I think that's a little bit unfair. But what the fuck about Rise of the Tomb Raider has been fair lately, I mean, it's just kind of par for the course at this point. And PlayStation 3 users aren't going to get the game as well, which I also think isn't fair, because the PlayStation 3 is very much still alive and kicking and still getting games. We're still at this point, as of this recording and upload, that a game that is released on PlayStation 4 will most likely be co-released or released as well for the PlayStation 3. The console isn't totally dead yet. So I think it's a little bit unfair that PlayStation 3 users aren't going to be getting it. In fact, it downright sucks. I'm well aware that not everybody has a PlayStation 4. Those things are still goddamned expensive, at least here in the United States. I don't know about globally, but here in America, yeah, they're still pretty costly. And not everybody has upgraded, so my heart goes out to those that aren't going to get to play it on the PlayStation 3, if that is the only console that you have. It genuinely sucks. But again, what the fuck about Rise of the Tomb Raider has been fair at this point. So again, par for the course. Anyways, the new DLC, we get a new storyline mission called Blood Ties, which is actually part of the main campaign. And we also get Lara's Nightmare, which, and this could be potential spoilers, so I'll give you a couple seconds to just kind of skip ahead. Lara's Nightmare, as I understand it, is a zombie mode where zombies are trying to break into Croft Manor, which, I'm not a fan of the zombie genre. Even in pop culture, I don't watch zombie movies. I never got into The Walking Dead. A couple of the Resident Evil movies were cool. A couple of the Resident Evil games were cool, but zombies have been done, for me personally. So I'm not really too thrilled about that. But honestly, there's not much of the DLC besides the outfits that really appeal to me for Rise anyways. I mean, I wouldn't even check out any of the DLC for Rise of the Tomb Raider if I had to pay for it, because none of it that I have read about just strikes an interest for me for some reason. And ordinarily, with a game series that I really love, like a Dead Space 3 or 2 or a Metal Gear Solid or whatever, if it's a game series that I'm totally passionate about, I will check out the DLC, because, DLC, for me, before it just became kind of a cash grab and suddenly you had developers cutting content out of games intentionally to hold them back to make a buck off of you later on down the road. Dead Space 2 had great DLC. You got the Severed storyline, which was only a couple of hours, but it was exactly what you wanted. It was the Dead Space 2 experience continued on, and it was even a new perspective on the events with a new character if you had never played Dead Space Extraction. That's good DLC. That's a good way to do it. The Blood Ties DLC, I don't know. Given the fact that it does take place in the main storyline campaign. And keep in mind, again, I have not played Rise of the Tomb Raider yet, so I have no idea how it's going to fit in. Obviously, I've not played the Blood Ties DLC. But given the fact that it is tied in with the main story and the main campaign, it does give one the impression, or at least could, or at least it does to me, that perhaps maybe it was one of those instances where something was intentionally cut out of the game to be repackaged and resold later on, which I'm not a fan of. But that kind of goes back to not really a whole lot about Rise of the Tomb Raider has given me a reason to be a fan of it, or even excited about it, outside of the main campaign. Endurance mode, I have no idea what the fuck that is about. I have a kind of a very small understanding of it, of as just a survival mode. That doesn't really sound interesting to me, but the main campaign, the meat and potatoes, that's what it's all about. I'm happy to finally have a chance to get to check that stuff out. And again, I am happy that we are getting a complete edition that comes with the DLC and all that stuff, and especially since it could possibly be on the disc. Again, that's the only way that I would check it out, because if you are new to the channel, there are several videos regarding Tomb Raider, or related to Tomb Raider, where I have spoken out about my thoughts on the exclusivity deal. And just to kind of sum it up for those that are new, I wasn't a fan of it. I thought it was a pretty big slap in the face to the fan base, and it was also a stupid business move. I mean, there had to be some kind of money exchanging hands between Microsoft and Crystal Dynamics, or even Microsoft and Square Enix. There's no way that it wasn't about money. Nobody does anything for free, especially in a big-ass business industry such as the gaming industry, where profits are in the billions. So don't kid yourself, that shit was about money, okay? That being said, even though I understood it, yeah, I absolutely despised it and thought it was just stupid. I mean, here you have this game, TR 2013, which sells millions of copies, gets high praise from critics and fans alike, and squashed most of the doubters whenever it was revealed that TR 2013 was going to be a reboot, and got them on board with the new direction and shit like that. And then you cut off 2/3 of the fan base. It's like, what the fuck? Why would you do that? That is just so stupid. But, whatever. It's done. It's not water under the bridge, but it's not like there's anything we can do to change it. However, I think this complete edition of Rise for the PlayStation 4 is a decent start. Now, what you guys think, I'd be very curious to know. Is this now water under the bridge now that the date is announced and that we're getting all these extras? How do you feel about the game? Are you still excited to play it after all this time? What do you think about the DLC? The outfits, the storyline campaign, the nightmare mode, the co-op endurance mode, which co-op, by the way, yeah, could probably do without that. I had a hard enough time getting a match going in the multiplayer in TR 2013. Those fucking trophies were the bane of my existence for fucking months, man. Fucking months. So, Crystal Dynamics, if you are watching this, please do not tie any trophies to multiplayer. That shit is fucking annoying. Anyways, kind of sidetracked there for a moment. I'm also not too thrilled about the artwork for the Rise of the Tomb Raider Complete Edition. I think it's a little bit bland, but then again, if you look back at the covers to the older games, Tomb Raider has never really been known for its artwork, but to me it has always been strange that you have these fantastic movie poster style collages for most of the games, but they just go with, close-up of Lara Croft on the cover. It's always been very odd to me, because these games are so epic in their nature and their storytelling, and the locations you go to and the puzzles that you do and shit like that. You've got all these perfect elements to come up with this badass cover that really strikes a chord with people that look at it instead of just looking at it and seeing, Lara. Which there's nothing wrong with looking at Lara, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to imply that, she's hideous or she can't sell a game based on being on the cover or anything like that. No, far from it. She's a fucking icon, you know? I'm not going to be so bold as to say that she's got no right whatsoever to be on the cover solo. It's just always been odd to me, is all. And just to get it out of the way, yes, I noticed the similarities. Frankly, at this point, I'm a little bit tired of whoever is ripping off who. Back in the day, even a few months ago, I would get kind of, not necessarily worked up about it, but I would just notice that, you know, one borrowed from the other. I just don't give a shit at this point. Just fucking stop it, because it's goddamn annoying. You know? I mean, just give it a fucking rest. You are both your own thing. It's okay. You don't have to fucking do what you guys do. And I don't know who does it first or whatever, but please, just fucking stop it. Needless to say, though, the cover leaves a little bit to be desired for me, though. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about this PlayStation 4 version of Rise of the Tomb Raider. I'm very curious to know. I'm excited. It's going to be great to finally play the game. Not all is forgiven, but it's a decent start. And the extras are pretty much all you could ask for after all of this time. Now, paying full price for the game, I'm also curious about that. I don't mind it. I expect it. You know, there's no way that they're going to discount the goddamn thing down to like $30 US or anything like that just to make up for the wait. It would be fucking great if they did, but, you know, they're probably not going to do that. So, I mean, it's you know, again, going back to getting the high profits, yeah, I don't see that happening. So, let me know what you guys think. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. If you are new to the channel and would like to hear more thoughts on Tomb Raider from myself, you can check out my Let's Play of Tomb Raider Anniversary, which is currently about ready to wrap up, but the playlist is available. And in a few weeks, I will have a playthrough of Tomb Raider Legend as well. And feel free to check anything else out if you want. We try to have a good time on this channel. We don't take it too seriously. We're not here for money. We're here for fun, goddammit, and to play some great games. So, I'll see you on the next one. Everybody take care out there.